It is Friday, the 7th of February, 2025. We are continuing with the inquest into the Highgate incident. Just before you proceed, Mr. Vani, is there any feedback on the minute of the inspection? I know you indicated you prepared a draft which you handed to your colleagues.
Yes, my lord, we handed a draft over Tuesday morning. We're waiting to hear back from our colleagues at the station.
Oh, all right.
Sorry, my lord, that's actually our fault. I haven't conveyed that to my learned colleague. We are happy with that. We've been through what Ms. Winfield has sent to us, and
Yes.
we are very happy with it.
All right.
So we can
All
be
right.
handling.
Thank you. All right.
Lord, we will arrange printing and we will hand up a final version to you this morning.
Very well. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vani. Who is dealing with the next witness?
My lord, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Governor. Are you?
Tired, my lord, but
Yes, no, hang in there, hang in there.
my lord,
Good enough assistance. You can always hand over to your left or your right, even to your
It's a
back,
very-
I'm sure.
it's a very good suggestion, my lord.
Yes.
I have to take it under advisement.
Yes.
My lord, before we recall Mr. House, there is one aspect I wish to canvass with the court. I have had a discussion with Mr. Vani this morning before we started.
Yes.
And it's an aspect that Mr. Vani has already brought up, I think, on day 2 of the inquest regarding the reporting by the media of the day's events. We came across an article yesterday that dealt specifically with the evidence of Mr. Botha and Mr. Halston, and we found that the reporting in that article was actually incomplete and in some instances inaccurate of what was conveyed by both those witnesses. Specifically, my lord, I'll bring to attention the evidence of Mr. Halston, where in his affidavit he said it was stated that Mr. Hals was prevented by the NPA and SAPS to continue his investigations of the so-called AMA squad by the authorities, which later under questioning he withdrew it as false because Mr. Hals was no longer in the SAPS at that stage. That second aspect was not reported in the article. My plea, my lord, is that the media be reminded again that in fairness to both parties and the families and the proceedings itself, that whatever is reported accurately, so that members of the public who are not present here has an understanding of what is happening here and not a single point of view of what is going on, and that a holistic picture is created there. So is my plea, my lord, is that they be reminded again of the important role that they play in these proceedings. Those are my submission.
Is this, is the article that you're referring to, is it in the print media
It's on, we found it on the website.
on the website?
We actually found on the Algo FM
Oh,
website.
all right.
And this was the second article from that specific website where we found inaccuracy, either related to the issue regarding, was another issue which we canvassed among ourselves and decided not to bring it forward, but after this we felt that we had to bring it to the court's attention.
Yes. What is your goal? Is it a radio station?
It's a radio station as far as I know, but they do have a website
Yes.
where there is reporting on this, that we've come across reports on this matter. In fact, if you remember correctly, in the emails that we ended up, or in the screenshots, one of the articles that was quoted was from the Algo FM website as well. It was
Yes.
handed
Yes.
in as exhibit
Yes.
R.
Yes. Very well. I'm sure that the media would take note of what has just been conveyed to the court. It is imperative that these proceedings are covered in the media because it's important to communicate the circumstances of this particular incident. However, it is equally important to convey an accurate picture of what is transpiring in the course of the hearing. So I trust that the media would take heed of that and continue to play the vital role that they are playing, but to endeavor to represent the proceedings as accurately as possible. I'm sure in respect of this particular article, the authors of that article would note this and if need be possibly correct that incorrect impression that was created. It's often, I should add, not intentional. I am aware that journalists work against very tight deadlines most of the time. So they are working under pressure like everybody else, really. It's hardly ever intentional, an intentional misrepresentation. Often it's just the pressure of work. But hopefully that will be taken heed of and to be avoided for the reporting in respect of whatever else happens in these proceedings. So for the moment I'll leave it there. I don't believe there's a need to take the matter further than that. I think we were still busy with the evidence of Mr. Elsden.
That's correct, my lord.
Yes. So
My lord, in
let's-
that regard, I'll then recall Mr. Alan Helston.
Very well. So let's proceed. Mr. Elsden is here. So if you can come forward.
Good morning.
Morning.
May I be seated?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Just a minute. Just a minute.
Mr. Elston, I'm reminding you that you're still under.
Thank you.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you, sir.
The Governor, were you still with you?
Yes, my lord.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, my lord. Good morning, Mr. Helston.
Good morning.
Mr. Helston, again, thank you for coming in this morning. We're just going to continue from your evidence yesterday. You did testify that you did meet Captain Peterson in Stellenbosch, where you had a discussion with him, and this was in 2023.
That is
around
correct.
February of 2023, is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, Captain Peterson, who is the current investigating officer, indicates that, yes, he confirmed speaking to you, but at no stage did you provide him with any names for him to follow up. And you indicated that you did give him names.
I told him that there were two brothers involved and that he should look on his list because he told me that he had a list. And I said to him he must look for the names of the two brothers and that there wouldn't probably be many brothers in the Hammer squad, but he should look at his list and find the two names of the persons who were brothers.
But did you give him any other names for him to look at?
No, I gave him the name of Wayne Richardson, who was a former member, and he's the person that passed away.
And where was this, at the time of his death, where was this person residing?
I think here in East London.
In East London. And you didn't give him any other names?
No.
And the names of the brothers, you just asked me if that was on the list.
I asked him to have a look on the list if they were there and just confirm it, yes.
Now, I'm going to read to you his affidavit that he prepared. My lord, this is in Exhibit I at page 61.
Thank you.
and I'm going to read from you in paragraph 4, which says, it was a lengthy interview, and Mr. Alston informed me that he cannot remember saying that he, oh sorry, let me just start from where you are in paragraph 3. On arriving at Stellenbosch Detectives Offices, I received a text message from Mr. Alston that is to be found at the SAPS, Stellenbosch SAPS station. He is with warrant of subpoena. At the Stellenbosch SAPS, while looking for warrants of subpoena's office, I received another text message stating that Mr. Alston is to be found in the charge office. I proceeded to charge and found him there. He was clearly nervous, and after identifying myself, we proceeded to quiet area and interviewed him. It was a lengthy interview, and Mr. Alston informed me that he cannot remember saying that he had information. I then showed him the text messages between himself and one of the victims and started to narrate to me that he and Darrell Ells were working together on another case which occurred 17 years back. And while investigating it, Darrell mentioned to me that he was investigating the Cambridge Massacre, and the following months he also helped Darrell with the Cambridge investigation. Is that a accurate description of?
No, you said something there about I'd said to the captain that I did not have any new information.
Yes.
That is not correct.
And did you tell him that you were assisting Darrell with the investigation?
No, I never assisted Darrell with the Highgate matter. We only spoke about the Knysna murders and Ingelot's murder, Darrell and I.
In paragraph 5 of Captain Peterson's affidavit, he says, Mr. Alston kept referring to matters which he heard from Darrell Ells, and when I asked him why did he mention to the victims that he had positive information and evidence, he replied that he only mentioned that he had possible information regarding the Hammer Squad that was based in Port Elizabeth, and that his informant informed him that it was the Hammer Squad.
That is correct.
So you did convey to Captain Peterson you actually didn't have evidence, it was merely information.
Information, yes, which I asked him to follow up.
And what was that specific information?
That he
Is that
should,
only about the brothers?
Yes, with the brothers, yeah.
And what exactly did you tell him? What you gave him? You said there was 2 brothers, but what was their possible involvement in this case?
There were a few people who told me that they were definitely involved in the massacre, in the shooting incident, and that's why I said to him, if you have a list of names and you narrow it down to those 2, those are the people you should interview.
And who are these people that told you?
The one is an ex-national intelligence friend, and the second guy is just a very good friend.
So I would understand that you might not want to reveal those names.
No, I can't.
While in the box, but would you not want to reveal it to Captain Peterson so you can go and speak to them to determine from them if they are prepared to give affidavits or supply evidence that could lead us on?
That's why I asked Captain Peterson to confirm that there were the 2 brothers, and that, and then he could take it from there.
But what I'm asking you now is that, not obviously in the box, but when your evidence is finished, would you not be able to want to provide that information to Captain Peterson or in a closed session to this court so that he can be directed to go and speak to this?
Yes, of course I can.
Okay. And those 2 brothers that you refer to, can you reveal their names?
I will tell them to Captain Peterson, yes.
So you can't reveal that?
Not publicly, no.
Okay. And you've not told anyone about those 2 brothers?
No.
So, Mr. Alston, I'm just going to refer you to an affidavit that was for Mr. Carl Weber that was handed out by my learned colleagues. In paragraph 44 of Mr. Weber's statement, it states...
What is it?
Exhibit C.
My lord, that's Exhibit C at page 53.
Thank you.
At paragraph 44, and I'm going to read verbatim what it says there. My attorneys at Cliff Decker Offmere Incorporated also engaged with Alston, and on 31st May 2024, Alston revealed that he believed that the suspects were Marius van Zyl, who has since passed away, and Fani van Zyl. So did you tell that to the attorneys of the family?
I must have, yes.
So you have revealed the names already previously.
I can't even recall that.
So you can't recall having this conversation about these two brothers to the attorneys.
I would not have mentioned their names, but those are the correct names.
But you'd agree with me, there's no way they would have got that names other than from you. It's not possible for them to have found it, and if they are submitting an affidavit confirming that as well, that it was conversations with you.
Wow, I'm telling you, I just don't recall that.
So you didn't recall passing those names, but these are the two brothers that you.
They are the two brothers, and I should not have passed the names on.
Mr. Allison, I just want to explain to you, I'm sure as an ex-police officer, you should be aware of this as well too, that our roles in this inquest proceedings is to assist the court. This is the court's process.
Yes.
Between the families, representatives, and ourselves, as well as the investigating officers, to assist the court to inquire, to establish if anyone can be identified and possibly prosecuted if that's possible, if any evidence can be gathered. So any directive is given by the court to do any investigations. You are aware of it.
Yes.
So any information that you provide to us today that my lordship wants to clarify has to be done will be done at the direction of the court, and anyone who does not comply will have to explain to the court why that's not good.
Yes.
So is there any information that you have then that you think would be relevant for Captain Peterson, the family, or the NPA to follow up that could assist us in gathering evidence, and not information, but evidence to assist us to identify a perpetrator or obtain admissible evidence to allow us to look at someone as to identify any suspects?
I must mention that one of the brothers has since passed away,
Yes.
so there's only the one brother left, and I would suggest that Captain Peterson have a thorough interview with him.
Okay. And like you said, you are going to pass us the
Of course.
once you testified, the names
Yes.
of any other persons
Yes.
that Captain Peterson can speak to. Okay. Mr. Hassan, I'm just going to return then to these the SMS or WhatsApp conversations that you had with Mr. Parker. My lord, I'm going to hand up to the witness Exhibit R, which is the screenshots that was provided to us by Mr. Parker. And just to get clarity from yesterday, so we're all on the same page, you indicated yesterday that the reason for communicating with Mr. Parker was to establish if Captain Peterson had mentioned the Hammer Squad.
Yes.
And that was the only reason. You just
No,
want to
and-
know if he followed up on the Hammer Squad.
I wanted to know if he'd made mention of the Hammer unit in his testimony, and I wanted to know if he had traced those two people. Well,
The two brothers.
if he had interviewed the two brothers. I wanted to know if that evidence was led in at this hearing.
That's what was the reason that you
That's
spoke
the
to Mr.
purpose,
Parker.
yes.
Okay. You also mentioned that you had sent a WhatsApp to Peterson as well to find out if he was testifying.
That's right.
Did you send him a WhatsApp to ask him if he had mentioned the Hammer Squad?
No,
Why did you not send that to him?
because I was hoping I would get that from Mr. Parker.
But it would not have been easier to get it from, so to say, the horse's mouth.
No,
You didn't think it was important to ask Peterson?
no, I did not want to ask him personally.
Can you please explain why?
It's just the way. It's the way I work.
Okay, why, at that stage, when you first made contact with Mr. Parker, had you been in contact with my learned colleagues?
Yes, I had.
Did you ask them?
No,
Why not?
because I was hoping Mr. Parker would tell me.
But would not think that the better persons to speak to would be the legal representatives?
Not at that stage, no.
And you said that when you made contact, or let me ask you this, when you made contact with Mr. Parker, were you aware that he could possibly testify?
There was always a possibility, yes.
So you were aware he was a potential witness?
Yes.
Were you at that stage aware that you could be a potential witness?
Not at that stage, no, I didn't think. I was hoping that I could put my affidavit together and then present it to the defense team.
And for that to be handed in without you being
Yes, yes,
called? You were an ex-policeman,
that's right.
correct? You're aware that once you attest to an affidavit, you are a witness whether you testify or not.
Yes,
So once you knew you were going to put in an affidavit, you're aware that you were then a witness
possibly be called as well, yes.
and possibly might be called to give oral evidence.
That's right, yes.
But once you attest to an affidavit, you are a witness whether you're called or not.
Yes.
Okay. So when you became aware that you were now going to put in an affidavit, did you stop communications with Mr. Parker?
That's right, and that's why I didn't send him a copy of the affidavit, because I had promised him a copy of the affidavit, and then later on I realized that I might be called to testify, and that's why I did not send him a copy.
And did you tell Mr. Parker that I'm not going to send you an...
No, I just didn't send him one.
Now, I'm going to refer you to page 3 of the document that I handed to you. And I'm going to read to you the first part. It says, it's under the name Helen, it says, if you can establish whether Captain Peterson during his testimony made mention of the hammer unit. Do you see that part?
Yes,
But it goes on to say, and any new information or leads that he followed up.
yes,
So what new information or leads that you were...
the two brothers.
But that wouldn't be new information. He was already in possession that according to your evidence.
No. If he was going to testify at this inquest, that he had been given the names of 1 or 2 new witnesses and he had interviewed them.
But that was not new information. From the text that you, from the manner in which this is, any new information and leads.
Any new information that the captain had received from me.
So that was in reference to the brothers.
Yes,
And you go on to that to say at the last part, but please at this stage this is very delicate.
that's right.
And below it you go, you deserve to know why this is very important and I'll explain to you by this weekend.
That's
Did you
right.
do that?
Yes, I did eventually, after the meeting I had with the Hammer Unit, ex-Hammer Unit member, I did then later on elaborate.
No. From my understanding of this, it says, this is directed to Mr. Parker. You deserve to know why, and this is very important, and I'll explain to you by this weekend. Did you explain to Mr. Parker why this was important?
Later on, yes.
And what did you tell him?
It'll be contained here somewhere, if I may just find it.
Mr. Allison, maybe to assist you, these are all these screenshots that was exchanged between yourself and Mr. Parker.
Yes.
We've been through these messages. There's no explanation in any of them.
Well, on page 22, where I asked him, where I said, "Hi, Roland. My apologies, I had to drive home and had some drama with my dogs. I'll share more with you later. One very important question. This arose yesterday at my meeting. Was there anyone in the bar that night who you would say could have been so far leftist as to be regarded as a target for the far right-minded at the time?" So that was the beginning of my feedback to him. And later on he asked me what did I mean, and I referred to Donald Woods, and I referred to Steve Biko, and I asked him if there was anyone amongst the deceased who could have been a leftist target.
So when you sent him this, I will explain, your explanation was that at that stage you already believed that the Highgate massacre was a result of a single target.
No. I was asking him if there was a person amongst the deceased who might have been a target.
Yeah, I understand that, but what I'm asking you is that you, in this exchange with Mr. Parker, you told him, you'll explain to him you say you deserve to know why this is important, and I'll explain to you by this weekend, where you want to know what other information and leads Captain Peterson had followed up. At that stage, you had not formed the single witness theory. It was only after you had a meeting with this person in East London that theory came
That's
up.
right,
And that was
yes.
some time later.
That's right.
So when these WhatsApp messages were sent, that single theory was not part of your thinking.
I had by then seen the guy.
So you had already seen him
I'd seen
before you sent these messages to...
No. After I met with the guy, I then sent this message and I asked if there was anyone there that could have been a target
So when did you meet with this person in East London?
on a Saturday.
If you could give us a date, sorry, Mr. Arson.
Well,
Was it in January?
it's about 2 weeks ago.
So was it the 2nd of February?
It could have been.
Was it after the inquest had started?
Yes.
So it was the first Saturday after the inquest had started.
Yes, I think that's correct, yeah.
So that would have been the 2nd of February.
Yes.
The inquest started that Monday, which was, my Lord, I think the
27th.
27th. So when you first met this person in East London, that was the 2nd of February, and that's when the single single victim theory came.
That's correct. I would have to I can just check on my phone, maybe later on, but let's accept up until, for now, that it was the 2nd, yeah.
But from your evidence, from what
Sorry,
your recollection...
it can only have been the 2nd, yes.
Yes, from your recollection, it happened after...
Oh, yes. For sure.
After the inquest had already started.
Yes,
Okay. So when you sent this message, you had already met with this person.
that's right.
But Mr. Parker's evidence is this started on the 27th to 29th of January,
It
so Wednesday,
started on the 30th.
or the 30th.
Yeah, it started on the 30th, which was already the Thursday, and by then I'm certain that Captain Peterson had already completed his testimony.
So that's what I'm trying to establish, because this message is that's it, on page 3, was on the 30th of February. Sorry, January. Sorry, there's no 30 days in February.
Sorry, you're talking about the first, the very first.
Yes. So the first communications.
It was on the Thursday, the 30th.
Yes.
That's correct.
So all this communication, including the one on the page 3, is for that date. So by then you had not met with the person.
No, I had not met with that person.
So that is what I'm saying. At this stage, when you sent this message, you had no idea of the single.
No. I had no idea that there might have been a single target.
So again, I would ask you then, what did you want to explain, Mr. Parker? That was important.
I wanted to explain to him how my meeting went on the Saturday.
But what meeting are you referring to? Because there's no mention of any
The
meeting
meeting
prior to
with
that.
the meeting with the Hammer Unit guy.
But there's no mention of any meeting that you were going to have to Mr. Parker. So he was not aware of any meeting.
No, he wasn't aware of the meeting at that stage. Only later on told him I'm meeting someone on the Saturday.
That's what I'm struggling to understand. Is it would be very difficult for him to even understand what you're talking about, because you telling him, I'm going to explain to you about a meeting that he's not even aware of.
Yes, because I mean, at that stage I just wanted to know if he was willing to help me or not.
Help you to do what?
Whether or not Captain Peterson had spoken about the Hammer Unit and the 2 new persons that he was given the names of as leads.
Okay, but just to correct that as well, so your evidence is that on that day that you met Peterson in Stellenbosch, you never actually gave him those names. You wanted to see his list to see the names were on that list.
I said that he should consult his list and he'll find that there are 2 brothers, and those are the 2 brothers that he must interview.
But you never specifically said, like what is contained in Mr. Weber's affidavit, it's Van Zyl, Fani Van Zyl and Marius Van Zyl. You never told that to Peterson.
I didn't give him the exact names, no. I said, because in fact I doubted whether he had a list. I must be honest.
So why didn't you give him the names?
I was going to see if he was going to get back to me and say to me and tell me that he found the names, or he couldn't find the names. But he didn't get back to me.
But Mr. Alston, from your evidence, these people were potentially involved. And from my belief is that you wanted to know who was involved in this massacre. Did you not think it was important to tell him, investigate these 2 people?
I gave him the names of the people, the brothers. I said, check your list on and you'll find the names of the brothers, and those are the guys that you must interview.
Mr. Housen, you're going to go around. What I'm putting to you is that no names were exchanged. You asked him to check his list if there were two brothers.
That's right. If those
Okay?
two, sorry,
But in your mind, you didn't even believe he had a list.
yes,
That's what you just testified.
yes,
So what I'm putting to you, did you not then think, you know what, my intention here is to ensure that this family finds some kind of closure. So let me give him the names. Let him then go and investigate. So what I'm asking you is, at that stage, when you met him in 2023, which was 2 years ago,
yes.
why didn't you say, investigate the Van Zyl brothers, Fani Van Zyl and Marius Van Zyl?
I don't think you understand how serious this whole thing is. When it
I
comes-
do,
No, sorry, I mean from a personal point of view, from my personal point of view. How many times I've been warned not even to mention anything, not even to be here today. And that's why the mentioning of the names of those two Hammer Unit members now it shocks me. I mean, I didn't expect their names to be used in this open
But Mr.
inquest.
Housen, do you understand the position
I understand.
we are placed in? Because you are telling us that you didn't want to give the names to Peterson because of this, or whatever you perceived could happen. But the names are then brought to the attention of the court 2 years later, when we could have started investigating 2 years ago.
No, Peterson could have started
Yes.
investigating 2 years ago.
That's what I'm
Peterson
saying.
should have got back to me and said to me, Alan, I've found the names, thank you very much, I'm going to interview them, or I have not found the names, can you please provide me the two names? And I would have provided in the names and even where and how to contact them.
But then how would that have changed from your first meeting to the subsequent meeting, where in a subsequent meeting we would have told you, but you didn't feel comfortable enough to tell him the first time?
Which subsequent meeting?
If there was a subsequent, you saying that if he came back to you,
Yes,
you would have told him.
yes, of course.
So how would it change? What would have changed that would have allowed you to tell him the second time if he came back to you? Because you weren't prepared, or you weren't comfortable telling him the first time. Correct?
It would mean that he was serious about interviewing the two people.
He traveled from the Eastern Cape to Stellenbosch to interview you.
Yes,
He came there to ask you questions.
That's
Did
right.
you not believe then that was a show of commitment from his side?
it was a sure commitment. I wanted to see what happened after he arrived back in East London, to see whether or not he was going to get back to me and say to me, I found the names or I did not find the names.
But Mr. Housen, it's not a game. It's us trying to find evidence.
It's also about me and whether I can trust the SA police or not. I'm sorry, my lord. I've had some bad issues over the last few years with the SA police and the NPA, but I must say, I respectfully say that I'm talking about in the Western Cape. So I've had very, very bad experiences with them. And when I met with Captain Peterson, I just wasn't sure whether I could trust him or not.
Well, thank you. I follow your evidence, Mr. Housen.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Housen, I know you said that you actually didn't assist Mr. House with this investigation, but did you ever keep a file of what you were collecting on this matter?
Yes, I did.
And what, without revealing, I'm not sure if you want to reveal it, but what wasn't contained in that file?
The file is still at home, and it contains the names of other persons who could also possibly assist.
And are these the names that you're going to reveal to us, to Captain Peterson or my lordship later on? Is that the names, or is it more names as well?
It's more names.
Okay. And as part of the WhatsApp messages that you indicated yesterday as well, too, that you sent Mr. Parker a copy of your two books as well.
Yes,
You also sent him an email containing a report commissioned in 1994
that's right.
regarding the possible involvement of the Hammer unit in the Craddock 4 matter.
That's right.
Can I ask you why you did that? Why did you send Mr. Parker that?
Because I found the article very, very interesting. There was quite a bit of mention about the Hammer unit and who and what they were, and I thought that it would be of interest to him.
Can I ask you, when did you first come across this article?
It was after I'd met the guy on Saturday that I went and did a bit of homework, and then I found the article.
And did you do any investigation to verify if what was contained in that article was an accurate description of what happened at the Craddock Fort?
No, that article was written, I think, in 1994.
So you didn't confirm if what was contained specifically with regards to Mr. Goniwe and the Craddock Fort, where there was allegations in this article that the Hammer unit was involved in their possible abduction and killing.
No, I did not try and verify it.
How do you think Mr. Parker would have reacted if he read an article that said that the Hammer unit, who he now had belief was also involved in the Highgate massacre, was also involved in the Craddock Fort? How do you think he would have reacted if he read that?
We would probably be pleased to know that there is information about the Hammer unit, that they're not just a ghost unit, but that they actually do exist, and that they could possibly have been involved.
Do you not think also you would be terrified to think that now as well? Because you also told him that these people, even though they were all old, were still very, very dangerous.
That's right, I'd mentioned that, yes.
So this would have scared him as well, this article. To know that the
He had
extent to which these people were
he had no
involved.
reason to be scared. I mean, what happened 32 years ago.
So you don't think has to be worried now?
No,
Mr. Parker testified, he indicated that this actually terrified him.
I'm so sorry if it did.
But are you aware that at the amnesty applications, the members who applied for amnesty for Craddock were only SAPS members? Were you aware of that?
No,
Were you aware that there's no mention by these police officers in the amnesty applications of the involvement of the Hammer unit in the Craddock format?
all I do know is that there was no Hammer unit member who applied for amnesty.
But what I'm asking you is, are you aware that there was no mention of them?
No, I wasn't aware of that.
You're also aware that this article makes mention of them being stopped at a roadblock,
Yes,
the Craddock Fort.
Yes.
But the evidence is that they were pulled over by the SAPS on a side road.
okay, but I didn't follow the case.
That is what I'm trying to explain to you, Mr. Alston, is that without actually verifying what was contained in this report, did you not think it was a little bit dangerous to then forward it to Mr. Alston, to Mr. Parker, for him to read without giving him context of what else?
Well, I just read the article as it was, and I found it interesting, and I sent it to him. I didn't think any further than that.
But Mr. Alston, would you appreciate that is the problem we're sitting with in this matter, that a lot of people are providing information to a lot of people without verifying if this information is correct or not. I'll just give you a typical example. Is yesterday in your affidavit, you were misled by Captain Alts about the SAPS blocking you, which you later conceded that could not have happened.
Sorry, I didn't say it could not have happened. It could have happened. That he didn't receive support from the SAP's police, and that he just didn't document it.
So you're saying that even though the evidence before this court that came from Mr. Botha as well is that, and from the family, is that Alts only became aware of the Hammer unit after he left the SAPS. You saying there is a possibility that he could have known it whilst he was still a policeman, but he told no one.
No, that doesn't sound right.
Would you agree with me then?
I
What
agree
he told you
with, I
could not
agree
have
with you.
been.
Yes, I do.
So that is what I'm telling. That's what I'll put to you. That there's a lot of people saying a lot of things, and until we verify it, it's dangerous to just pass it on as credible.
I'm with you. But if you do have a look at that article, you'll see that it was, I think there were 3 journalists involved, and they'd put their name to that document. I honestly believe that they wouldn't have done that if they had not done their homework.
No, I'm not saying that in 1994 when the article was written
Yes.
that they were incorrect. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I'm saying that in 1994 they could have believed it.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is in the subsequent amnesty applications and what we've learned from then, it's different.
Okay.
So I'm saying that, yes, that article was only written in 1994, but before we accept it as gospel, we should actually verify, okay, but since then a lot has happened.
Okay.
Is what they believe then actually what is correct?
I'm with you. Yes.
You understand? Instead of just, because in 1994 when this article was written, yes, no one knew what would happen.
That's right.
You understand? It just came on later. So what I'm trying to put to you is that it's important that before information is passed, it's verified to check if it's credible. I mean, as author, you yourself would understand, you would not print something without verifying
Sure.
the authenticity
Sure.
of it, because it brings your reputation into question.
Yes.
So you wouldn't do that. So that is my point to you, that it's important that we do things.
Okay, I agree with you.
And you agree with me as well too that it was not proper for you to be communicating with Mr. Parker regarding his testimony.
I really wanted to find out whether or not Captain Peterson had mentioned the Hammer unit. I felt it was very important for this inquest. Had he not mentioned it, or had he not mentioned anything about my giving him those two names, I thought it was very important to find out. And that's why I contacted Mr. Parker. I had no ulterior motive or any other sinister reason. It was just I wanted to find out if Captain Peterson had done the best to his ability with the information I gave him.
So, my lord, if I just have one moment.
Very well.
My lord, I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Varney. Mr. Varney?
Mr. Olsen, firstly, thanks for coming to East London to assist this court. I'm going to put to you a few questions arising from the statement that you signed. My lord, that's Exhibit U. It's Mr. Elsden's statement that was commissioned and signed on the 6th of February 2025. Mr. Elsden, you said that you joined the South African Police in 1973 in East London, and you were part of the force for 20 years.
That's correct.
So does that mean you resigned from the force in 1993?
1992.
1992, okay. And you served as a detective, a member of the drug squad, and as an investigator in the security branch from 1977. How long were you in the security branch?
Until I resigned. Until I resigned, which was in 1992.
And what was your role in the security branch?
Here in East London at Cambridge, I was an investigator. There were different units. I had to concentrate on the so-called white suspects, while other members concentrated on the black suspects. And we had a division that concentrated on union activity, and I was also a cryptographer.
And were you involved at different times in all those sections?
Yes.
And you said that you also performed duty on the borders of Rhodesia and Southwest Africa.
That is correct.
Which units were you involved in? On the borders?
I was just a normal policeman from the uniform branch when I was sent up to Rhodesia in 1994, and then when I was
sorry, you mean 1974?
Oh, sorry, 1974. Sorry, and then when I went up to Oshikati in 1979, it was as a cryptographer. I also did partake in one or two operations with the Kufut unit.
What was the nature of those operations?
It was the rounding up of suspected spies.
Did it include their interrogation?
Yes.
And you mentioned in paragraph 5 that when you left the force, you wrote a book called The Tall Assassin. What was that book about?
The Tall Assassin is about a number of unsolved, mostly political murders that took place in South Africa, starting with the murder of Prime Minister Verwoerd.
And for our benefit, who was the tall assassin?
General Lang Hendrik van den Berg.
He was a former head of the security branch?
The Bureau of State Security boss.
A Bureau of State Security.
Yes.
In paragraph 6, you talk about being shot at in April 1993 while living in Gauteng and working on the book, and you described it as a midnight warning shot. What is a midnight warning shot?
Our head office, the company where I was working was at Steeldale. We had a branch out at Germiston, and I was the loss control manager. I received a call about 11:30 at night to say that there was a suspicious vehicle moving around at the back of the factory.
No, we don't need to know the details.
Sorry.
But
Okay.
this is a term that is used, a midnight
Oh,
warning
no, that's just my own term.
Oh, your own term. And what do you mean by that term?
Well, I'd been lured away from my home to the factory, and then when I arrived home, there was somebody waiting for me, and they fired a shot in my direction.
And you felt that the shot was being fired to warn you about something?
About the book I was busy writing, because I discovered the truth behind the murders of Dr. Robert Smith and his wife, and I'd shared that with a brigadier in Pretoria and asked him please not to use my name, and 2-3 weeks later that happened.
And then in paragraph 7 of your affidavit, you talk about learning of the Highgate Hotel massacre on the 1st of May 1993, and that Appler was initially blamed for the attack. You also say that in the aftermath, an inquest should have been launched and a thorough investigation concluded, and that this hasn't happened with the inquest only being launched in these last 2 weeks. In your view, what does that say about the investigation into this case?
It just tells me that it was poorly investigated and that the inquest should definitely have been held a long, long time ago.
Well, I should tell you that on that score, we representing the families are in total agreement with you. The family should not have had to wait 32 years for an inquest into the massacre of 5 people. And then in paragraph 8 you say that after 20 years, or rather 20 years later in 2014, as a private investigator, you befriended former SAPS captain Darrell Else. Was that the first time you had met Darrell Else?
Yes.
Are you sure you hadn't met him previously?
I might have bumped into him in East London, but I probably didn't even know who he was.
And you mentioned he was the first police investigator in the Highgate Hotel massacre. Just to inform you that, in fact, he was the 3rd police investigator. And in paragraph 9, you mentioned that you and Else shared information relating to 3 cases, and he expressed his frustration to you in not being allowed to properly investigate the 93 Highgate Hotel case. He went on to explain that Appler denied involvement and that there was a suggestion of third force involvement. So this conversation, am I right, took place in 2014 or in the years subsequent to that?
Yes.
My learned friend, Advocate Govender, has already pointed out to you that Mr. Els had already left the South African Police Service, so he was no longer an official investigator in the matter. You were aware of that?
I am now, yes.
And not only that, in 2009, after the mission that Darrell Els undertook to Cape Town, where he apparently obtained what we would regard as explosive, even smoking gun type information that might have solved the case, he then cut off contact with the family and never had contact with them again. So it's quite curious that he's complaining to you in those years that he was being stopped from investigating. And one, he was no longer a member of the force, and two, from the perspective of the families, who had felt very let down, he never got back to them. What's your response to that?
The impression that I gained was that he was the one that was feeling downhearted about not having been able to finally give the persons closure. I find it strange that after 2009 he would have just gone quiet.
And that theme continues because in paragraph 10, Els revealed he discovered the Hammer unit, that he had shared this information with senior SAPS officers, but they showed no interest. Els claimed that his attempts to get permission to visit the SADF and PE were being met with indifference, but that he planned to interview the commanding officer and members of the Hammer unit. Although by that stage, we already knew from information he had passed on to family members such as Neville Berling that he had already made contact with certain individuals in the Hammer unit and had allegedly also spoken with Pete Hall and Wayne Grobler, who were connected to the Hammer unit. So it's odd that years later he's saying that he hasn't been given permission to interview Hammer unit members.
I do agree with you that it is confusing.
And in 11, he was disheartened. He told you that the SAPS had made no effort to investigate or resolve the case, and until his death in 2017, Els remained convinced that a massive cover-up by the SAPS. I'm assuming when you had SADF there, you meant SAPS. I see that you've initialed it.
Yes.
Had occurred in relation to what happened. I suppose the real burning question is, why did he walk away from the families? Why did he cut off contact with them if he felt that way up until his death?
That is
because
why,
the families felt the same way.
That is why I say I find it strange. In fact, I saw Darrell. The last time I saw him was about a year before he passed away, and he never changed anything. He never told me any differently.
Did he mention any intimidation or threats that forced him to lay low?
No, just that he received no assistance from the SA police.
My learned colleague at the Governor has canvassed with you in great detail your interactions with Captain Peterson, so I'll try to avoid going into that in too much detail. But it does seem as if a narrative has developed around the Hammer unit. Now, the families conducting their own inquiries and reaching out to former APLA commander have also raised questions around the APLA narrative. And indeed, we've already pointed out to this court serious inconsistencies in the APLA narrative. It didn't quite fit the bill of a typical APLA attack. But I'm curious to know on what basis can we say, well, if it wasn't APLA, then it must have been the Hammer unit. And the reason why I pose that question is that the Hammer unit was not the only structure carrying out covert, undercover operations in South Africa. Within the security branch itself, as a former member, you will know that the branch had its own covert units, the most notorious one being C1, which became C10, the so-called flak class unit. They also carried out operations which involved targeting individuals. We also know of other false flag operations carried out by a security branch, carrying out attacks, even bombings, planting arms caches, blaming others as a pretext to taking action. So did the South African Defence Force. They had the CCB, the Civil Cooperation Bureau. I'm sure you're aware of their activities.
Yes.
Directorate of Special Tasks, involving massive undercover operations. So given the full breadth, why have you and Daryl Else honed in on the Hammer unit and not any of these other possibilities?
Well, Daryl had his reasons, I'm sure, why he homed in on the Hammer unit. When I was living in the Western Cape, as I mentioned earlier, a very good friend of mine who worked at National Intelligence provided me with the two names that are now will be handed over to Captain Peterson. And he was of the firm opinion that these two persons could be linked to the Highgate shooting. He didn't tell me why, but it sounded like he was convinced that these two members might know something.
Did you not probe with them, the basis for making that connection?
No, I mean, we shared a lot of information, and that was one of the most important things that he told me that I made a note of, and that's when I started keeping my own Hammer unit file at home.
But were you not interested to hear what explained that connection, as opposed to being two individuals who potentially were involved?
Can you just please repeat that?
Well, I want to understand why you didn't speak further. The moment that was raised, and you were told, look, these two individuals, your source is saying, well, I'm convinced they were involved. To ask him, why are you convinced?
The only thing that he said to me was that I should never ever go down that route, and that these guys are very, very dangerous, and that's all he had to say.
And once he said that, you took that concern seriously and backed off.
I did, yes.
But you've undertaken now to hand over all those details to Captain Peterson.
Yes.
Mr. Elson, we want to hand up a copy of Carl Andrew Weber's affidavit. I just want to refer a few things to you. With the leave of the court, we'd like to hand up a copy of Mr. Weber's affidavit.
Very well.
My Lord, this is in Exhibit C. The affidavit starts at page 46 of that bundle. And I just want to take the witness through a few paragraphs. It's page 7 of the affidavit, 52 of the bundle.
Oops.
Before I start, Mr. Elsden, do you know Mr. Christian Butter?
Yes.
And how do you know him?
He was also involved in the Neisner murders at the time, in 2005, and that's when Darrell Els also worked for him, and we met up and we discussed a few issues about the Neisner murders.
And did you ever discuss the Highgate case?
No.
So, if we look at the bottom of page 7, starting in paragraph 42, on 3rd August 2021, I was directed to a man named Alan D. Elston. I messaged him on Facebook, and he told me that he joined the SAP in 1973. It said he knew who was responsible for the massacre, claiming to have known Darrell Els personally and had intimate knowledge of so-called other police cover-ups. I spoke to him on several occasions and he promised to complete his investigation and let me know the names of 2 to 4 persons he knew were responsible for the Highgate massacre. What's your response to that paragraph?
That sounds correct, yes.
In paragraph 43 on page 8, despite engaging with him on several occasions, as per annexures B and C to this statement, consisting of screenshots of my conversations with Elston and a typed copy of those conversations, respectively, he has never revealed the conclusion of his investigation, nor who he believes was involved. What's your response to that paragraph?
That is also correct.
And perhaps let's go to a few of those exchanges at Annexure C. That's page 73 of the bundle.
Page.
We just want to check that. Martinez is going to check to see that he has Annexure C.
I do.
Oh, you do?
Sorry, it starts on page 28.
That's right.
Okay.
Then if we go to page 29, you mentioned 2 Carl Weber, that's in the middle on page 5 of the exchange. Darrell believed the Hammer unit and PE were responsible. And if we turn the page to page 30, and again in the middle, in page 7 of that exchange, you say the following to Alan: I'll speak to my NI buddy again and hear if anything changed between when we last spoke. He did mention that all 4 of the persons mentioned turned to alcohol and are on the bones of their asses. When you say NI, what did you mean by NI?
National Intelligence.
Okay. Was that person currently in National Intelligence or had previously been?
He had previously been there.
And Did you get to speak to your national intelligence friend following that exchange?
Yes, we have spoken since then, yes.
And was he the source of some or all of the information that...
Most of the information,
Most of the
yes.
information. And I'm correct in saying that you will also share the contacts
I shall.
of your NI buddy with Captain Peterson?
Yes.
And then further down, under heading page 8, you say, let me find my Highgate file here at home and refresh my memory. So you had your own Highgate file.
Yes, I did open my own file, yes.
What kind of information did you collect in it?
Just the names of persons who were linked to the two brothers.
Okay. And will you let Captain Peterson have a copy of that file?
I will.
If we turn to page 31, under page 9 in the middle, you again say, I'll have a look for my file and we can chat again. And I assume you have in fact found that file.
You assume I have found it?
You have found it, is that right?
Yes, it's at home, yes.
Yeah. And then at the bottom of page 31, under the heading page 10, you say, hi Carl, there are two stories doing the rounds. First, yes, Highgate was the target and there was a copycat of the bar and surroundings built at their place of training to practice who enters where and when and does their part. Where did you hear that story from?
That was from a friend of mine whose brother was a Hammer unit member.
And approximately when did you hear that story?
That might have been about 2016, I think. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, that's if that story is proven to be correct, that again is a very important lead that has to be followed.
Yes.
Can we also ask that you provide the name and contact details of your friend who told you this to Captain Peterson?
That specific person has passed away, as his brother has.
Right. Because Darrell Else did mention to the families that he had visited an open area near an army base in Port Elizabeth on his mission there. I believe it was in 2009, where the hit squad had gathered, and then subsequently visited a training area near the Addo Elephant Park outside of PE, where the claim was there was such a structure which resembled the hotel. Did Darrell Else ever mention that to you?
No.
Then the second story was that the AWB Orange Grove Hotel was the target, in brackets, first hotel on your left as you enter East London, and that the Grahamstown KWT entrance was taken by mistake, and the first hotel on the left was the Highgate. Where did you hear that story from?
From the same source.
Okay. Well, now that that source is dead and can no longer be threatened in any way, there's no reason to not disclose his name and who he was.
That was my friend Alan, nicknamed Jock Richardson.
And what was he? Was he part of army, police, or?
He was a former policeman, And he was one of those guys in East London who always knew something about everything.
If I can ask you to turn back to page 29, you actually do make reference to the late Jock Richardson. And Lord, that's under the heading page 5. You state the following, and this is after, a few lines after you mentioned that Darrell believed the Hammer Unit and PE were responsible. You state, and then Carl says the grenade had a serial number that was traced to EP Command. The Hammer Unit was based in Patterson. And then you say, in East London, my best friend at the time, the late Jock Richardson, knew quite a bit about the Hammer Unit. How far is Patterson from PE? And Carl responds, about 40 kilometers. Do you recall when Jock Richardson passed away?
I think it was 2017.
Now, given that Jock was telling you something quite extraordinary, what did you do with that information?
At the time, nothing, because his brother was still alive.
At the time, you did nothing with it because his brother was still alive, and
His brother, had been a former Hammer Unit member.
and why did that stop you from perhaps handing that information over to the law enforcement authorities?
I knew Wayne Richardson personally. I'd met him on a few occasions, and Jock asked me please to keep it confidential at that stage. He was afraid of his brother.
He was afraid his brother could take action against him.
Possibly, yes.
And did you say Wayne Richardson has also passed on?
Yes, in fact, he and his wife had his wife describes as an internal argument at home, and she, in fact, shot him with his own pistol, and he died.
Do you agree that if in fact you had taken that further, either investigating it yourself or handing it over to the authorities, that could have provided them a lead that they could have pursued over the last several years?
I had to respect Jock's request.
At the bottom of page 31, here we're talking about the cartridges that went missing. You say the story about the exhibits being taken to Cape Town, a post office, etc. sounds like nonsense. Police would have kept the cartridges, etc., and driven with them to the ballistic testing venue, in brackets, probably Pretoria. So what's your view on the police posting important exhibits like cartridges?
That was the first time I'd ever heard of it. We would never do something like that at that stage when I was in the police. We always took any important exhibits directly to the ballistics or the forensics department.
that was in the security branch?
Yes.
Yes, it'll also be the evidence of Brigadier Marion, that important exhibit, who always driven to ballistic testing centres. But apparently it was practiced within some sections of the force to post evidence such as cartridges to a ballistic testing centre.
That might have been the detectives, for instance, who might have sent cartridges by post, but I doubt it in the security branch it would have happened.
And what do you take away from the fact that important evidence such as cartridges from a highly significant case in South Africa just goes missing?
It just, to me, is a very large red flag, and to me it smells of a cover-up.
Yes. There is a statement from a police officer by the name of Fisso who says, well, they were stolen from the police, at least from the post office, and his lordship made an astute observation. Well, what possible commercial value could paperwork and cartridges have? Do you agree?
Of course.
And then if I can take you to the top of page 33. Carl Weber points out that the weapons have never been found. And he talks about Flak Plaas being closed down the night the Highgate incident happened, and the next day this farm outside East London was vacant. And then he says, and then you say, this is all news to me. You were in Oudtshoorn at the time. And then Carl says that plot was registered to the government. Eugene de Kock was approached and said he knew nothing about Flak Plaas 2. And then your response is, in the SAP brackets Oudtshoorn, de Kock would have lied. I know him from Oshikati. Why did you state that?
If I can just correct myself here, when I say I was in Oudtshoorn at the time, in fact I was up in Gauteng at that stage. In the SAP Oudtshoorn, de Kock would have lied. Well, I do know Eugene de Kock personally from Oshikati, and I'm not even sure now which lie I was referring to there, but yes, let me just say that I did work with him at one stage, and those days truth and lies were, the one was as easy as the other.
Yeah, in that conflict, as a famous British leader once said, truth is the first victim in war. So lies and deceit were par for the course. But post his conviction for multiple crimes, hasn't Eugene de Kock come clean and has been cooperating with the authorities and even talking to families and pointing out potential leads for them?
I believe he has.
Are you aware that the security branches Vlakplaas had an Ascara unit in East London?
No, I didn't know that.
Were you aware that they had units or bases around the country aside from the actual Vlakplaas farm?
No.
And then if I can refer you to page 34, under page 15, you say, I'm going to try and track down the two guys here in the Western Cape. Maybe after all these years, one never knows. And you tell Carl we'll keep you updated on any progress. Did you manage to track down the two guys in the
Those
Western
are the
Cape?
two brothers, yeah.
Those are the two brothers,
Yes.
right? Then further down that page, Carl asks, why would the assailants use AK-47s and why have they never been found? Or if they have, for testing. And you respond, all the telltale sign of a cover-up and well-guarded secret. You see that exchange at the bottom of
Yes,
page
I do.
34? In your experience, where there has been a case like this, a significant event, a massacre in a very public place, and weapons are never found, is that, in your view, the telltale sign of a potential cover-up?
I think I was referring more to the bullet that he said was lodged in his arm and that it was never tested.
Right. I've been reminded that that bullet was actually tested, but unfortunately it also went missing. And then lastly, from this exchange, on page 37, in the middle of that page, Carl asks, who would have given them the orders? Not something they would have done on their own, surely. And you say, no, it obviously was a bright idea from someone higher up. He thought the attack would bring whites closer together against the common communist enemy. Someone mentioned they even practiced who went in first, who did what, where, etc. Can't remember the details. Can you explain your answer there?
Sorry, just on page 36.
37.
37, sorry.
That's in the middle of the page, 37, under the heading page 22, 1st of May 2021.
Yes, that was the that was the opinion of my friend Jock Richardson. He felt that that was probably the only reason why they might have done that, if it was the Hammer unit.
And did you hold the same view?
I thought that would have been a bit too drastic. And the elections were still a whole year away, so it didn't make sense to me.
Lord, I see it's 11 a.m. Would this be an appropriate time for the tea adjournment?
Good morning, gentlemen.
If I can refer you to page 34, in the middle of the page, under the heading 7 April 2021 at 2000 hours 57. Carl says, "Hi, are you well?" You respond, "Hi Carl, all good, thanks. I'm also making progress here. Need to go see a lady this weekend." Carl says, "Okay, on what?" You say, "She is or was involved with one of the guys. I'm told she's a really rough diamond." Did you reach out to this lady?
I did try, but I never managed to get hold of her.
And why did you think that she was potentially important to talk to?
It's her name was given to me by that national intelligence friend of mine.
Was she somehow connected to anybody interesting or significant?
Apparently, she was involved at one stage with one of the two brothers.
I assume romantically.
Yes.
Was she herself involved in any security service?
No.
Can we also ask you to pass on her details
Yes.
to Captain Peterson?
That's fine.
Captain Peterson, we want to show you two photographs which we've blown up of a number of police officials who gathered outside the Highgate Hotel the morning after the massacre. And we just want your assistance in trying to identify who they might be. So my attorney will show you the photos, starting with Milord. These are the F1 and F2 photographs. So as a former police investigator and security branch officer, we're hoping you might be able to pick up some of the individuals depicted in this photo.
Yes, there are a few that are familiar.
Okay, could you point to them and identify them? And when you point to them, could you just indicate where in the photo they are?
I do remember this guy over here. And this one looks familiar.
Can we just start with the first one? Can you indicate where in the photo and
It's
his name?
I can't remember his name, but I do know. I did know him. It's the gentleman with the coming out the door, so to say, or standing in the doorway with a white shirt, looking towards the camera.
Okay, so that's quite a large gentleman. Does he have sunglasses on?
That's right.
And where do you know him from?
From the police in East London.
From the police in East London.
Yes.
Was he a normal police officer or a security branch officer?
If I remember correctly, he was security, and he might have been from King Williamstown.
So possibly a security branch either from East London or King Williamstown. Okay, the next person.
I'm not sure of the person who is standing. There's a gentleman with a brown leather jacket, and then behind him there's another person.
Yes.
And that person looks very familiar. And if it's the right person, then he was a member of the security branch in East London.
Are you talking about the individual standing directly behind the leather jacketed person?
Yes, the guy with the blue and striped shirt with a silver watch.
And who has dark glasses on and a fringe?
That's right.
Do you remember his name?
That could be Glenn Schooling.
Can you just spell that?
Glenn
Yeah.
Schooling, as in school, ing.
And you say he was also a security branch?
That's right.
Was he based in East London?
He's retired now. He lives in the Western Cape.
Right. But at that time, was he based
Oh
in East
yes,
London?
sorry. He was based at Cambridge.
Sorry, can you just lift up that photograph? See, let's just point out again.
This gentleman, and this is one over here.
Oh, the one directly behind
Yes.
the chap. I think you're looking at F1.
Yes, it's F1, yeah.
F1, it's the person that is partly concealed directly behind the gentleman with the leather jacket and the matching shoes. And you say you knew him as Glenn Schooling.
If that, yeah, it looks very much like him.
All right. Thank you very much.
If I could be given a smaller copy of this, I could speak to a friend or two and show it to them, and then I'm sure we can identify a lot more.
Okay, we'll provide you with a smaller copy.
I think a lot of those guys came from the security branch in King Williamstown, or maybe even Queenstown. That's why I recognise the guys, but I can't remember their names.
Okay. So you've pointed out two. Are there any others?
There's quite a few of them that look familiar, but I would rather speak to one or two of my friends and show them the photos. Their memory will be better than mine.
Okay. All right. If you could do that and then indicate to Captain Peterson who, if you come up with any more names, and then if we can go to F2, which is taken at the same scene, but perhaps a little time later.
Again, a few of them look very familiar. I will do my best to try and identify these people and get their names.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. If we could then go back into the body of Mr. Carl Weber's affidavit, and my Lord, we were on page 8, which was page 53 of bundle C. And actually my learned friend for the state has already pointed out this paragraph to you, but I'll just read it again because we have another question. My attorneys at Cliff Decker Hoffner also engaged with Elston on the 31st May 2024. Elston revealed that he believed that the suspects were Morris van Zyl, who he said had passed away, and Fani van Zyl. Since we've already canvassed this aspect, I won't go into it further, but I do want to point out to you that you also had an exchange on email with retired Brigadier Marion, who you know is the private investigator for the families. And I just want to read an aspect of that email into the record. Well, Lord, unfortunately we don't have additional copies, but we're going to attach it to the affidavit of Brigadier Marion. So the email is dated Saturday, 25 January 2025. And it's from Alan D. Elston to Clifford Marion. Good day, Brigadier Marion. This morning, you give the date, I made contact with the source of the information pertaining to the 4 persons of interest in the former Hammer unit in Port Elizabeth. See attached. Another very good friend who knows Fanie van Wyk personally mentioned that he once spoke about the Hammer unit and some form of special training he received. With his brother Morris having passed away, the possibility exists that Fanie might open up about previous Hammer unit operations. So we just wanted to probe. Here you mentioned him as Fanie van Wyk, although subsequently Fanie van Sail. Do you recall what is the correct name?
It's Van Wyk.
It is van Wyk.
Van Wyk.
Captain Peterson, if you could make a note of that. And then moving on to paragraph 46 of the Weber affidavit, Elson revealed that a source was someone called Henny, Page Winfield of Klipdecker Hofmeer, called Henny, whose full name is Hendrik Lowe. He declined to cooperate. And then moving on to paragraph 46, retired Brigadier Clifford Marion also reached out to Hendrik Lowe. Hendrik never took retired Brigadier Marion's calls and ignored his emails, and a copy of those unanswered emails are annexed as F. There's no need to go through those documents. Can you tell us a bit about Hendrik Lowe and why he might be helpful?
I'd rather, if you don't mind, just tell that to Captain Peterson.
Okay, that's fair enough. You had an exchange in your evidence in chief on this report. I believe it was drawn up by Sam Soul, an investigative journalist in 1994, on the Hammer unit, which raised the possibility of the Hammer unit being responsible for the Craddock 4 murders. And as my learned friend pointed out, the evidence that we have so far from amnesty applications and other sources actually points to the security branch. Although, to be fair, I should also bring to the court's attention and get your comment that actually the SADF was involved in those murders, although not necessarily through the Hammer unit. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am.
So you're aware that the person who started the Hammer unit, former Lieutenant General Joffel van der Westhuizen, authorized a signal which was sent from EP Command to the State Security Council Secretariat a few weeks before the murders took place. And in that signal were the infamous words that the 4 had to be urgently, permanently removed from society. As a matter of interest, as a former security branch officer, if you were to receive a signal with those words, how would you interpret them?
Well, there's only one way to interpret the word permanent.
Which is?
And that would be to eliminate.
To murder them.
To murder.
So, yeah, the SADF were heavily involved in Craddock 4, and the evidence points to them actually instigating the murders, although we don't have a connection to the specific Hammer unit as yet. Now, you mentioned that you were a member of the security branch from 1977 all the way through to 1992, and that you were also investigating trade union activities.
Yes.
So we actually have a statement from a detainee at John Vorster Square, where certain names are mentioned, and I just want to read part of the statement to you. My Lord, we will hand up the statement shortly as an exhibit. So this was a statement provided in the Neil Agate inquest. You recall who Neil Agate was?
Yes.
My Lord, I'm sure you're aware, but just for the benefit of the wider public, Neil Agate was a trade union man who was detained and died in detention in the early 1980s. And this affidavit is from another trade union man who was detained at the same time at John Vorster Square. And that individual is Sisa Njikelana. I don't want to waste too much time, so I'm just going to read one paragraph. But perhaps at this point we'll hand up the statement so that the witness can see it,
Yes.
and we'll give copies to our learned friends in the court. And my Lord, we've marked this statement Exhibit V.
Well,
I want to go to
yes, the affidavit of Sisa Njikelana.
So, my Lord, this statement was made out for purposes of the first Neil Agate inquest.
Yes, it's dated, it was commissioned on the 15th of June 1982. Already entered as Exhibit V.
Thank you, my Lord.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Njikelana, at the bottom of page 1, states that he was the Vice President of the South African Allied Workers Union based in East London. He was detained in East London on the 8th of December 1981, brought to Johannesburg on the 13th of December. Paragraph 4, he was interrogated at John Vorster Square from 21 December 1981 through to 8 January 1982. In paragraph 5, on 15 December 1981, while I was in my cell at John Vorster Square, 3 members of the security police, whose names I believe to be Sergeant Elston, Sergeant Fourie, and Sergeant Else, came into my cell and started beating me. They said words to the effect that we are now going back to East London. You know what is going to happen to you here. You're going to learn what it is like. You must get ready to speak. You will find your head pushed right into a toilet bowl. These assaults and threats were a great shock to me. Firstly, we want to know, did you visit John Vorster Square and meet with this detainee on 15 December 1981?
Yes.
And the Sergeant Else, who's referred to there, who was that?
His first name is Chris.
Chris Else, okay. And what is your response to the allegations made in this paragraph?
It sounds correct.
And Lord, before we close up, could we request that this witness and Captain Vaughan Peterson meet perhaps in the boardroom, just to make arrangements for collection of information and to hand over all the details that he's undertaken to give to Captain Peterson? We just think it would be better to do that now rather than trying to make arrangements once the witness is back in Cape Town.
Will that be convenient, Mr. Elton?
That would be fine.
Yes, and Captain Peterson is here.
Yes.
So if we could do that, we'd probably save some logistical challenges. Very well.
No further questions, my Lord.
Thank you, Mr. Varney. Is there anything further, Mr. Varney?
Yes, my Lord, with cross commission, there's just three aspects I wish to just clarify with the witness. One which I failed to do during this evidence in chief.
Yeah.
Good Lord, cross commission, Lord Mayor.
Very well.
Thank you. Mr. Alson, just to confirm, when we discussed the issue regarding Captain Peterson and the names, you did confirm that you provided no names to him because, as you indicated at that stage, you had a trust issue as a result of your dealings with the Western Cape Police
Yes.
specifically. Is it also correct that you didn't want to give the names because of security issues as well? Is that what you also said? I just need clarity on that.
To a degree, yes.
So you never gave him any names
I
at
just-
all, and you confirmed.
I didn't give him the two full names. I told him he would find them on the list.
But no names were provided to.
No names, just that
That
there would
there
be
was
two
possibility.
surnames. There would be two surnames on the list to indicate that they were probably brothers. And if he checked on his list, he would find them.
You gave him a lead.
Yes, sir,
That's it.
my lord.
But no names
That's how I
itself.
understood it.
Yes.
Yes.
I just want to read to you your affidavit that you provided that has been handed up in paragraph 13, where you say, and this is under the general headline, SAPS Orcs, East London. And in paragraph 13 you say, I gave Peterson the name of a former member of the Hammer unit who lived in East London but had since passed away, believing his name should appear on the list. I also provided Peterson with two additional names of individuals reportedly associated with the Hammer unit in 1993. I suggested Peterson visit the interview the individuals from the Ham unit to explore their possible involvement or knowledge of the Highgate Hotel massacre. Peterson assured me that he would follow up on these new leads.
That's
So
correct.
from this paragraph, the impression gained is that you did give him three names.
Well, I technically gave him three names. I mean, I gave him the first name, and then I told him where he'd find the other two names.
So just to clarify, because
I did not give him their exact names. I gave him the surname. I said that he would find the two surnames of the two brothers, and then he would know who they are.
so what is the name of the person at East London?
That was Wayne Richardson.
So you told him Wayne,
Yes.
that he must speak to a person named Wayne.
No. Wayne is one that passed away.
Okay. So you gave him the name Wayne.
Yes, I said you should find that name on the list as well, because he was a member of the Hammer unit.
And then I provided him with two additional names.
Those are the brothers.
So what names did you provide?
The
What
surnames.
exactly-
I said he would find the surnames on his list, and those were the brothers.
Did you say
Not the
a
names.
name?
No, I did not give him the names.
Just the lead, that's it.
Yes, my lord.
You never gave the two names.
No,
You thought you gave him enough information
Yes.
to track him down
that is right.
on his list if he had a list.
Yes, my lord.
All right.
And then just with regards to the interactions that you had with Mr. Weber, you indicated to him, I just want to find it, my lord. On page 29 of the interactions with Mr. Weber, have you found that, Mr. Hassan?
Almost there. Yes.
It says there, just under the heading page 4, and it says, Alan, and the video that was taken by the police that night, the Highgate was attacked. To which Mr. Weir replies, Daryl didn't mention a video recording. What video are you referring to?
I can't say for sure.
Because the impression gained, and I think Mr. Weber's reaction is that there was a video of the actual attack that the police was either were in possession of or filmed.
I'm sorry, I might have been referring to a video that the police took after when they arrived at the scene.
So just to get clarity, you're not aware of any video of the actual attack?
No, there was no video of the attack itself. I was referring, I'm sure, to the police video that would have been taken. They would have taken photographs and taken a video.
And just one other issue on page 34, at the bottom of page 34. I think my learned colleague referred you to that. But if you look at the last, sorry, have you got to that, Mr. Pastor? Below the heading, it says page 17.
Yes.
Okay. There is a conversation between you and Mr. Weber in which a discussion was made about an investigator going to Pretoria, a private investigator hired by the human rights, which from the introduction seemed to have been from Brigadier Marion. And then in one of your reactions, you asked Mr. Weber, do you have a copy of his final report? Do you see that?
Is that now on the next page?
Next page, sorry, on page 35. It's the third paragraph
I see
down.
it, yes, I see it.
Can I ask, why did you want Brigadier Marion's report?
Are we referring to Brigadier Marion?
There's no mention of, well, I'll ask to be excused, but in Mr. Weber's, he refers to an Indian guy. It's either me or Mr. Marion. So I assume it has to be Brigadier Marion.
No, but I see this is dated 2021. That was long before I knew Brigadier Marion.
No, I'm not saying that you knew him at that stage. What I'm saying, in your interactions with Mr. Weber, he indicated to you that a private investigator was going to be, that was hired by the Human Rights Commission, was going to do certain investigations. You then requested, do you have a copy of his final report?
I would have been interested in finding out what he discovered, yes.
Can I ask why?
Because as I mentioned to you, I had over the years picked up information about the Hammer unit and I've opened up my own file.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Elsdon, thank you very much. That concludes your evidence. Your indication that you will be interacting with Captain Peterson has been noted, and it's appreciated. The context in which you testify is also well understood. You have indicated the personal issues that arise from evidence, so that is noted. We try to piece together a puzzle 30 odd years later, so that is no easy task. So every bit of information that could assist is welcome. Nothing is too small, so it is appreciated.
It's a pleasure, my lord.
Thank you. You are then excused.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Governor, does it leave us?
My Lord, as per our agreement on the last occasion, we concluded on Friday, we were intending obviously to finish by 1.
Yes.
Because of the travel commitments.
Yes.
We, unfortunately, our intention was to call one of the victims, which was Mrs. Boucher, but we were unclear how long Mr. Alston was going to be, and she's employed, so we had to require notice. Considering the time, I have consulted my learned colleague. I suggest that we then postpone the proceedings. We want to have a discussion regarding the schedule for the next session as well, so that will give us an opportunity to have that discussion as well. I think we'll end up that the minute for the inspection block over. I'll ask Mr. Vani to deal with that.
Yes, we will just a few short housekeeping matters.
Yes.
My attorney advises me that we don't have spare copies of F1 and F2, but we have emailed Mr. Elsdon colour photographs, and hopefully that will suffice.
Yes.
And then, my Lord, we'd like to hand up the inspection in loco report, which we have put together, and as you heard from our learned friends for the state, they have consented to the report. My Lord, we'd like to mark the report Exhibit W.
Very well.
Copy for the judge and for you.
Thank you. The inspection and local report is then received as Exhibit W. I'm indebted to counsel in this respect.
My Lord, as my learned friend Advocate Governor mentioned, we are now going to meet to plan the schedule for the reconvening. At this stage, I think we'll only know at the end of that meeting whether that last week in March will be sufficient. I'm hoping that it will be. But if your Lordship could just confirm the days that the court is available in that week. Is it the full week? I think you might have mentioned in Chambers that you're only available until the Thursday.
No, yes, until the Thursday. We have made ourselves available for the Monday now as well. That wasn't originally part of it, but yes. So Monday to Thursday we can devote to this matter in that last week of March.
Okay, so we must try to fit the remaining witnesses into those 4 days. My Lord, my suggestion is that once we have met with the NPA team, that we revert to your Lordship with a proposed schedule for that week,
Yes,
together with any issues arising.
yes. Yes, so that Monday is the
24th.
24th of March. So we're speaking of that week. Very well. So I will leave the details around the schedule and the logistics for the moment in council's hands. And we'll hear from you in due course.
As the court pleases.
Very well. So the Thursday is the 27th.
27th, my Lord.
Very well. So, thank council for their assistance up to now, which has been invaluable and is appreciated. I'm going to then adjourn the proceedings to the week commencing on Monday, the 24th of March, 2025. The matter will be heard from the 24th to the 27th of March, 2025. And we will deal with any remaining matters during that time in that session. I also express my appreciation for all of the witnesses who have testified up to now. That is also appreciated. On that note, we will adjourn.
As